Title: The last wax mold dust danced in the single beam of light that filtered through a crack in the roof of the Eldritch Wax Museum. The smell of old wax and stale damp permeated every corner, an aroma that clung to the throat like a premonition. I, Alex, ventured into that labyrinth of silence, an urban explorer drawn by the legend of a museum abandoned decades ago, where the wax figures were so realistic that it was said they came to life. The door creaked shut behind me, a sound that resonated amplified in the darkness. I pulled out my flashlight, its trembling beam breaking through the blackness. Before me, the first room, a parade of historical figures frozen in time. Kings, queens, generals. All of them with glassy eyes and unsettling smiles. The wax, yellowed and cracked, gave them an even more macabre appearance. As I advanced, the atmosphere grew heavier. In a room dedicated to the horrors of war, a World War I soldier lay in a trench, his face distorted by fear, his hand outstretched as if asking for help. A chill ran down my spine. It was just wax, I repeated to myself, just wax. In the next room, the figures were more sinister, serial killers, legendary monsters. Jack the Ripper, with his knife raised, seemed ready to pounce. Dracula, with his sharp fangs, watched me from the shadows. The line between art and nightmare blurred. It was then that I heard it, a whisper, a barely audible murmur that seemed to come from the darkness. I stopped, my heart pounding. I turned off the flashlight, holding my breath. The silence was absolute, oppressive. Then, again, the whisper, this time clearer, more defined. Join us. The voice was guttural, robotic, as if generated by a defective machine. I turned on the flashlight suddenly, pointing it towards where the sound came from. There, in a dark corner, a figure moved. It wasn't just any figure. It was a replica of myself. My wax double stared at me with bloodshot eyes, a grotesque smile distorting his face. In his hand, he held a chisel. Panic paralyzed me. I wanted to scream, but the words refused to come out. My double advanced towards me, his movement slow, methodical. The chisel gleamed in the light of the flashlight. I stepped back, tripping over a table. The figures around me seemed to watch me, their wax eyes following my movements. I felt like I was suffocating, trapped in a nightmare I couldn't wake up from. Join our collection, the robotic voice repeated, this time louder, closer. My double lunged at me. I fought, trying to snatch the chisel from him, but his strength was surprising. I felt the cold metal pressing against my skin. In a last desperate effort, I pushed him with all my might. My double fell to the ground, disarticulating into pieces. The room fell silent. Gasping, I got up and ran. I ran without looking back, through the rooms full of horrors, towards the door. I threw it open and launched myself outside, breathing the fresh night air. I was safe. Or so I thought. The next day, I went back to normal, trying to forget the horrible experience. But something wasn't right. In the mirror, I noticed something strange on my face. A small crack, like the one the wax figure had. At first, I didn't pay attention, I thought it was my imagination. But the crack grew, spread across my cheek. And then others appeared, on my forehead, on my neck. I was turning into wax. The process was slow, painful. My skin hardened, my movements became rigid. My mind clouded, my memories faded. Soon, I realized the truth. The museum not only came to life, but it needed new figures. And I, by entering that cursed place, had become the next mold. I tried to resist, to fight against the transformation, but it was useless. The wax consumed me, absorbed me, turned me into part of its world. One night, I found myself back in the museum. I didn't remember how I got there. I was standing in a room, surrounded by wax figures. I no longer felt fear. Just a strange sense of belonging. Then, I saw it. My double, reconstructed, awaited me with a smile. Welcome home, he said in his robotic voice. I joined the collection. I became another figure in the Eldritch Wax Museum, condemned to observe the next visitors, waiting for the day when they too would join us. And in the darkness, a voice whispered, join our collection. Again and again, eternally. Because the House of Wax always needs more souls. Because wax always claims what is its own. And because, in the end, we are all just wax in the hands of fate.